Anyways, this is the Guilds Roundtable episode 12. I'm your host, Jyrmz, a co-founder of RavenQuest.tools, as well as the vice leader of XP Guild Explore. And yeah, I'm very excited to be here and talk with everyone here. We have Oracle from SWN, we've got Schawkey from TG, MrsFAM from the FAM Guild, we've got WT from GXE, we've got Bunny, who's no longer in a guild, unfortunately, and or maybe fortunately, I could say. And I missed someone. Who did I skip? Kiszer? Kiszer from GXE as well, right? Thank you guys so much for being here. I always like to give a little disclaimer that everything that's set up here is, purely community-based. RavenQuest.tools is not officially partnered with the RavenQuest team, Tavern Like Games. So, we don't represent them. Sometimes people come up here asking us questions like as if we were a part of the team, and that's not the case. So please don't treat anything I say that way. Yeah, that's the only disclaimer I've got. And that's about it. We can continue our chat about the Guild Wars. I like to hear that you guys had a positive experience over at SWN Guild. It's Sandsworn, right? That's the name of your guild, the full name, Oracle?
Sorry, just a correction, Jyrmz.
Yeah.
We ended up disbanding the guild and amalgamating some of our players into OSG.
Oh,
So
really?
we've been with so we've been with 64 World and OSG and the great guys there for a couple of weeks now. I think it's been about 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, we just found just a little bit of the mix with the time zones. Obviously, I'm here in Australia, and yeah, it's a little bit tricky to find everyone active, and I just felt that we were missing out on quite a few of the key parts of the game. So we just transitioned to more of an active guild
Oh, that's awesome.
to just really experience the guild wars and stuff. So yeah.
I think that's an incredible decision, man. Yeah, I think that it's tough. It's tough running a smaller guild. I think there's a lot of points in the game where you need at least, a few people always online to kind of come in and help you out, whether it's questing and doing Raiders of the Wicked Seals or trying to hold down a Culling Eye spot or even just get some support, when you're trying to run a trade pack or two. So I think that's a good idea, and I'm glad to hear you made a decision that's in the best interest of you and your guildmates. Even though I'm sure it was a hard decision to make, right?
Yeah, very, very bittersweet. I mean,
Yeah.
we did have a few people go to GXE, which was great too, because they're a bit of a aligned guild here with OSG. So that was kind of nice to see that like everyone was still kind of getting looked after as well. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah. I mean, that's very good to hear. I hope you guys enjoy it over at OSG, and thank you for the correction. My apologies for misrepresenting you guys.
Oh, no
Um,
problem. No problem, man.
yeah. The archery switch you were talking about is actually something that we've implemented here over in an XP as well. I mean, at least on my end. If anybody's watching the stream, you can see I now have a bow. I was running Lightblade pretty much this whole time, up until like last week. We had, I don't know, probably 80% of our guild was running Shade Striker, and it very quickly became a problem with the guild wars, and man. We've had a few people switch out, and it's been refreshing to play a different class. But yeah. Anyways, let me ask someone else. I'll kick the ball around. Schawkey, how was the Guild Wars over on your end at TG?
The Guild Wars on our end did go well, but also not. So one of our warbands joined the Guild War, but for some reason they got kicked out. The money got refunded, and that warband just didn't appear in GVG this week. Then the second warband, they had a really close one, like 20-point difference. And the one that I was part of, which I'm a little bit disappointed, mostly because of the MMR system. I know it's going to take many weeks. I mean, at this point, I'm thinking it's gonna take maybe months before it's actually going to find a middle ground. The bad thing right now is there are no placement matches. So anybody who's coming new to the game, new guild, they're all excited, and then they're getting somebody that is about 20 levels higher than them. So for this guild war, we were all 65 plus in our warband. Like that was the minimum. But their team had 4 players. 4 players that were 50. So we need some type of placement matches that is actually going to start them
Yeah.
at like a lower MMR.
You know, I was talking about this. I don't know if you guys know about King Zimbra. He runs a weekly, like, or I don't know if it's weekly, but he has a podcast essentially that he does. It's called PodQuest, and I think, you know, mostly the Brazilian or Portuguese speaking community is interacting with them there because that is their native language. But he brought me on as an attempt to like kind of bridge the gap between, you know, English speaking community and Portuguese speaking community. So it was really nice to get to talk to them, and he's a member of CT, and I also got to talk to Nick Has from TGG. And I was talking to them too about the MMR system, and I was saying, because I'm similar as you, I think it's coming in a little bit too slowly. You know, I think that what I was excited, like what gave me confidence that it was going to work well was that I think like, in whatever announcement was written when the MMR system came out, I think it was Niter. He said that the swings in MMR in the beginning were going to be very high. And so I was anticipating this, that the first, you know, 2 or 3 guild wars would be offset, you know, like a little bit off-putting in the sense that you're saying, right? Like you might get matched up against some guild who's 20 levels higher than you on average, and that's okay because your MMR is going to swing super low and that their MMR is going to swing super high. And I think that that's basically placement matches, but it's not really what happened. Instead, we kind of got like, you know, 20 to 50 MMR up and down, and I just think that that's not enough of a number to really make a difference. It was interesting because CT and TGG guys that I was talking to, they said that, you know, they didn't really feel that that was an issue, that they think it's working fine. But yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing a lot of examples. I know your guild ran into like 93 times in a row, like the same warband. So I think the only critique I'd say is that there, in every game where there's a ranked mode, um, even if you have placement matches, the first few games you play, it's always going to be skewed. You could have people on Smurf accounts, you know, running around in a bronze lobby, you're just wiping the whole lobby. Like I used to do this in some FPS shooter that I used to play. And even in placement matches, it's going to be the same problem. The season resets, all the guys who are top 500 are going to be in placement matches, same as you, and you're going to get wiped in those first 10. You know, I just think like in those first 10 placement matches, the MMR swings need to be way higher, and that's what I was hoping to see here, and I don't think that we got that. And so, yeah, it's going to take, at this rate, maybe months, which is not ideal, in my opinion. But anyways, that was like a long, long ramble about that. If anybody has any thoughts, wants to jump in, Kiszer, WT, MrsFAM, please, or Oracle, feel free to give your perspective.
I'll just say, like, I think a lot of people feel kind of similarly in that one, that the first probably maybe month should have been more like placement matches where it was like much higher swings than would be average. Because we've had the same issue where, for example, like our Warband 1 has faced MDG like multiple times now with like their non-full group, which is a little unfortunate because it's fun to like go and see some of those guys, because I know some of our guys do like dynamics and stuff, hunting with some of them and stuff and everything. But it's obviously like, you know, everyone that shows up to Guild War, you know, we want to fight, right? It's not, it feels kind of bad when we're running around, you know, having a 10v5, right? And it's happened kind of multiple times now, and I know that's not necessarily saved, but it's just like the fact that we've won 3 in a row, for example, and we face them again now. It's like, is the MMR system even working? And I'm not, I know it's more so, hopefully you understand, I'm saying just like the feeling, right? It's just like,
right,
you get that feeling where it's like, man, is this even doing anything? So I kind of was hoping to see a little bigger swings.
Can we see how much volume there is and like how many warbands are actually going? Is that the problem, that there's just not enough selection to choose from?
It's a good point. I was actually going to bring up the same thing. I mean, I think I think there's a decent amount of guilds. I think, you know, regardless of the selection of people, like, I know that for every guild that is, you know, let's say 1300 MMR, there's at least one other guild who's the same. Like, from what I've understood and kind of gathered as I've talked to everybody throughout the past few weeks and gone into the guild and player drama, like, there's a lot of guilds and guild warbands that are entered. But yeah, I mean, maybe it would be nice if we could get some statistics to kind of gain some perspective on it. It could be a factor, but I do think that if we had heavier swings of MMR, it would probably kind of at least put a band-aid on the issue of, like, there not being enough guild wars to go, or guild warbands to go around.
Yeah, definitely.
I
GXE
actually
had a good week.
Okay,
I'm glad
great.
about that.
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys, so I mean, yeah, Kiszer just said you guys had like 3 wins in a row.
The further one, and then our second warband, they got matched up against some, like, you know, people with legacy skills and everything, and we even had, like, you know, level 56 in that warband, and, you know, they crushed it. They outperformed. They were running circles around their opponents. It was crazy. Good to watch.
And we were short a guy too, so we were pretty.
Oh yeah, they're down 9-10 too. Yeah, good point.
Awesome,
good day.
awesome. That's what I like to hear, guys. Definitely, I'm a big proponent of being the underdog and coming out on top. So I love to hear that. Oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say. It was something, and I'm also gonna die. Oh, it was shoot. Oh yeah, I was gonna say I actually have something positive to share about the Guild Wars outside of, you know, the things we've been discussing so far, which is that I had a disconnect. My power cut out in the middle of the Guild War, and so I basically missed the whole thing today. Like, power cut out in the beginning, and then my Wi-Fi didn't come back on until like the last 3 minutes, and I was able to reconnect. And I had another friend who crashed and then was able to get back into the Guild War. So that was pretty cool to see. I had minimal hope that, like, after missing 20 minutes of the Guild War, I would be able to get back in. But seeing that was, like, kind of a positive thing. I think that was actually a bit of an issue in the beginning of the Guild War start, is that we had people disconnecting and then not coming back in. So it was cool to see that was kind of fixed.
There
Hi,
was
Jyrmz.
also...
Hello! How are you, MrsFAM? Welcome.
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. Hey, congratulations on getting your physical location. I saw, like, some posts about it.
Yeah.
It looks super cool. That is awesome.
It's freaking awesome. So pumped.
Yeah. Do you want to share? Do you want to fill people in on like what's going on in the Fam Guild side of things, just so?
Yeah,
it's
I
not
just
like an
wanted
inside thing between us
wanted
two.
to follow up with what you were saying, like
Oh,
people
yeah.
getting
Yeah.
dropped off from the game and stuff like that. So we also played in the Guild Wars today, and it seems like there was a lot of glitching going on and people disconnecting as well. So, you know, like, having to wait a whole week to do the Guild Wars, it's you know, you anticipate for that. But yeah, unfortunately, they didn't do so well because of the glitching and disconnections and all that stuff. But it was still fun.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Do you
Yeah.
think it was like? It's interesting. What you would say it's like was like a Guild War specific issue. Like, people don't.
I'm not
normally
sure. So what I
disconnect.
was
Yeah.
what I was told was that, let's say one of our members was playing, and then he'll be battling against one of the other people, and then out of nowhere, like, a whole bunch would just spawn. So it
What?
wasn't, you
That's
know.
weird.
Yeah.
It sounds
so
like
I'm
a
not sure
lag
exactly
thing,
what was
but
happening, but
yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there is like a slight maybe optimization problem happening. Like, I think there's more crashes than usual. I noticed, like, on my team side than normal. But I mean, it's maybe normal for
probably because they're
online games and
incorporating the
stuff.
RavenIdle.
Maybe it has something to do with
Probably.
that. I would
Yeah.
hope not, but it's
I
possible.
was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Is
Speaking
that-
of, yeah, go ahead.
Is that some of the same issues that Niter was talking about last week that he was putting their lead engineer on to try and address before arenas get here and all that stuff?
I don't know. I mean, it could be something. You're saying, I must have missed that. WT Niter was talking
Yeah,
about.
there was a question or something that
Uh-huh.
in one of the round tables at Niter. There was a lot of PvP crashes going on, and they said that they were making that their #1 priority to address with the lead engineer before arenas got out.
Yeah. I actually, I do remember this now. I do remember this. Maybe this must be. Yeah, actually, this has been a problem people have brought up. Now you're refreshing my memory. I remember seeing like some montages of, I think it was Nick Has who like they have montage of them crashing in the middle of PvP fights and how it's not the most pleasant thing. I think it was in the Forge that Niter addressed this, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember it being on a roundtable, but.
And you know what? You're right. I do remember seeing that on a Forge.
Yeah, which by the way,
just-
guys, if you're not watching the Niter Forges, super like good stuff in there. I was really like, I'm really happy with how he's doing those, and definitely you should be watching them if you're playing the game actively.
Yeah, excited for the Guild Wars spectating. That's something that I've been ranting about since the game started, man. Would love to see that come in. So good to see Niter and the team are working on something to get us in there spectating, guys, and
Yeah.
try to theory craft how that might work.
It's awesome, man. I totally agree. It's something I think we've all been waiting for a long time. Or like not waiting for, but I remember talking about this on like one of the first roundtables we ever hosted. And so it's been a long time coming, and yeah, it's great to hear as well. I hope that they can get it integrated sooner rather than later. He was saying, you know, it's a bit of a challenge to create the delay, and I definitely want them to take their time with it as to avoid any potential like malicious activity that could occur, right? Somebody
Right.
kind of stream sniping, but
Sniping.
yeah, it's gonna be super cool. You're not participating, and you can like fly around and like switch between views or something, and watch the epic fights, especially on the higher levels. Like I know the fights get pretty intense when you have like 10 legacy skills going off at the same time. It's super cool.
Yeah. And I mean, even if it's not live and it's just a replay, like to be fair, I'd even just be happy with that for a while.
I mean, it'd be easy just to, like a 3-minute delay, I think or something roughly around there would be just like the perfect solution. Because then you can't get a competitive advantage and you're still kind of like in the moment.
Yeah, I'd actually like love this as somebody who's now not participating in Guild Wars. I literally had 8 different streams up on my monitor to watch, but that isn't always the best. And a lot of them mute, and just to be able to like spectate and actually see all that action would just be really awesome.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say you definitely want to feel the carnage, like it's Good.
Yeah, Guild Wars. It's one of the only like intense PvP things we have right now outside of like open world plunder moments where we watch GG and TGG, or recently there was a video that came out where PvP and CT teamed up to fight TGG, and outside of that it's this is the only thing we got. So yeah, I hope we get it soon. But it's always nice, again, like with the Forge, it's always refreshing to hear Niter talking about like some really high level stuff going on in the project. This week it was super fun with everything he's like teasing and can't share, like staking incoming and some rewards coming in for landowners that he can't share that they were waiting for legal approval on. What else was going on in the Forge? He was talking about
effort. Effort was a good one. I thought Jyrmz was
yes.
because my mind went crazy because I'd love to see, like, I don't know if you guys remember, like, most MMORPGs, like, where you can just go sit down and play a game or something that, I know you'd have to be, and spend effort maybe that way in playing some sort of game within the game, whether it's like a blackjack table or something like that. Obviously they'd have to be careful with the even poker or something, but with the gambling of it. But just seeing something like that, I think would be cool.
Ah, that would be awesome, man. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of excitement from the community around like mini games and parlor games that could be added. I've had a lot of conversations with people about this, and it's something that I think would be really nice to have in the game. I know Niter wants to have stuff like that as well, but it's tricky on the legal side, I think, because
Slippery slope. Yeah.
yeah, it's a slippery slope, and like I think there's legal problems because they distribute token inside of the game or like something like this. You know, they can't like just have like gambling stuff inside the game. Otherwise, I think they would. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like he didn't give us any details really on what changes are gonna come to the effort system. But it's fun to kind of let your mind run. I actually can open up a forum like a open thought here, I guess, for anybody who wants to share like outside of parlor games, any fun ideas you guys have of use cases for effort outside of, I guess, just fishing and planting and running trade packs, which is pretty much all we have right now. If nobody has any ideas,
I'd like to
that's
see them
fine.
used.
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to use it for purchasing maybe skins or something where it doesn't affect the game drastically, but you still can get something cool off it, or maybe the items that you need to get to some of the other skins or reputation rewards, maybe something like that.
So it acts almost like a currency in your mind.
Yeah, but you don't want to tie it to like, you know, oh, you can just go buy stuff off the market with it, you know, something that's off, like, you know, like I said, skins or something like that.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm having trouble like picturing how exactly it would work. Like you're able to, I don't understand. You're able to claim skins.
So
yeah.
So like the cosmetic things you have to acquire to go to those quest people that have like, oh, you need 500 of these and 300 of these, like those things. If you could just buy exclusively those, so you could work towards that or something.
You could buy
Yeah,
the pieces.
Yeah, I might have misspoke there. Probably those are the reputation quests, I believe. You know, some along those lines where it's not like, oh, I'm just gonna go buy a bunch of potatoes with my effort or something like that.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know how fond I am of that. Like, if we could just buy cosmetics with the effort, maybe a combination of effort. Yeah, go ahead, Kiszer.
No, I was gonna say, what if you flipped it in a sense that it's how much effort you've spent on a certain task? Because so let's just say like you've spent 10,000 effort on planting potatoes, right? Then maybe you get a cool potato hat, or like, you know, some sort of potato cosmetic, or
Oh, that would be cool.
I mean, that would be
Oh my god, I want a potato hat.
yeah,
Like, it would
now
have to
everybody
be-
wants a potato hat.
but do you know what I mean?
later.
Like in a sense of like how your efforts spent in games, essentially, and how, because that could then push other.
It could be like an achievement,
professions.
like you know, spend 10,000 effort fishing and get like a skin for your fishing rod or something like this.
Right.
That's
right,
pretty cool, actually. I really like that idea. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, that's sick.
Because
God, no,
I'm a
nice
grinder at
build-up.
heart. I love that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me. It feels a little bit like a completionist thing too. Like for people who are completionists, like it's extra achievements, extra things you can work towards. Like spend 1 million effort on potatoes, spend 1 million effort on you know, planting cotton. You could literally do it for any like piece, or you know, certain trade packs could even, and even if it's just a title, or it doesn't have to be a potato hat, right? Because that might be tough to create all those different
For
cosmetics.
example.
But yeah, it reminds me of this idea I shared recently. Not to, you know, plug my own thing, but I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Maybe it's a shit idea, maybe not. I shared an idea where we could have a creature journal. So you have, you know, I'm like a Pokédex kind of. You know, you discover the
bestiary.
Huh?
Or whatever. What do they call a bestiary or bestiary?
Yeah,
Bestiary?
something like
Never-
this. You know,
That's it. Thanks, bud.
a little journal you can
When
flip
I-
through. You kill
You
a
know,
beast.
when I had him on my stream a couple weeks ago and did that little AMA, that's something that I suggested, and he was like, "Oh my god, yeah, well, that's been brought up a lot, and I love that."
Oh, perfect. I didn't even
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Well, yeah,
Mhm.
glad to see that others share the vision, and
Yeah, that would be awesome, in my opinion.
yeah, we gotta keep pushing all these ideas. I mean, it's
Yeah,
sad.
it's a great
Like,
idea, man.
you know, Niter was saying, like, in the Forge, there's no shortage of ideas, right? I'm sure there's like hundreds and hundreds of incredible ideas that everyone has about the game, and it's tough, right? I think Niter is probably the most passionate out of all of us about integrating new ideas into the game and is just at a loss as to like what to do because there's so much different stuff, you know. And on top of that,
Mm.
we have RavenIdle, which is so sad that it couldn't come out, but I'm curious as to like if anybody was still able to play, because I was still able to play and I had a blast, even with the lag, with the bugs, with not even being able to play basically. Like I still had so much fun. I was still trying to progress. Even when I found out there was a wipe, I was like, oh, I'm still gonna play. I'm still gonna go and fight some you know, some rats and pray for a trophy or whatever. And anyways, I had a good time. So I'm curious if anybody else was able to persevere through the lag and what you guys thought of it.
I got to
Anybody?
play. It's good stuff. Definitely had to fight through the lag. I was scared to do things like I wouldn't be able to get back.
Yeah.
Trying to switch back and forth between land to see if I could plant things and then go back to fighting. And I think I ended up, before they got DC'd completely, was level 17 or something like that. And just playing around with the infusions and trying to get a feel for what I could do and what worked. And yeah, I liked it. I was very hyped for it. It sucks what happened, but
Yeah.
looking forward to when they get it fixed and got it ready to go.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play the playtest for landowners, and like I honestly I was a little hesitant. I was like, an idle game, you know, I don't know if I'm really going to enjoy it. Oh man, I was hooked right away. Yeah, it was
Yeah, I had the same thought. I was like, oh, I don't know. Am I really gonna like this? But then ended up loving it, and I feel like this is gonna be my stress reliever at work, like between meetings and stuff. Like, oh my god, I just need to decompress for 5 minutes and then quickly log on and be like, okay, harvest my potatoes, plant more on my land.
Yeah, it's so nice. You can just have it open on the side and it's just running, and then you check in and you get like this dopamine boost. You know, oh, I left it running for an hour and my guy fought, you know, 100k XP worth of mobs. It's such a great feeling. Anybody else? Schawkey. Oh, we got Eliph up here. Sorry, let me interrupt. Welcome Eliph into the speakers. Hello, how are you, brother?
I'm good, I'm good. So I also played it, and I'm actually kind of hyped for it from a Quest investor or holder point of view, because I think an idle mobile game, especially if it goes to the stores like Google Store, it has much higher potential than an MMO, because you know MMOs are hard for people to grind and they kind of lose the audience.
Mm.
And I like it, and it's still early, but I think it still needs some more animations, like on the battle, some mini animations, you know, small silver coming out of the monster, or
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more polishing, I'd say, to keep people, you know, give the dopamine rush like kind of other idle games have.
Yeah, you bring up a great point, Eliph, which is about like the mobile integration, kind of the ease of access. Like one thing that I've always been like kind of hyped for with RavenQuest in the back of my mind is when they integrate mobile, and I'm sure it's still quite a ways away, or maybe it's coming with 1.0, 1.0. And regardless, though, I think, you know, access, it's a big thing for a lot of people, you know, especially if you don't have a lot of money and you can't afford like a nice PC or something, and you can just play on your phone. I think we would see a big wave of players in the MMO side of things. So
I think it'll be a huge deal for landowners too, being able to like harvest and replant when you're at work.
Yes, don't even get me started.
Absolutely.
I so many times have missed my farming cycles because I gotta go to work. It's so sad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jyrmz, yeah, to like share a bit of a personal story. Like, I sometimes look after my brother's kids, and he's like a big MMO RPG fan, and like he's a little bit older than me, so he's a bit more old school. And he's obviously seen me playing RavenQuest when he's come in, and he just doesn't have time, right? And he's like, oh, this game's sick, like I want to jump into it. And I told him about obviously the idle version, and he's all in, right? So, you know, so for me to see the different drags of demographic, yeah, you know, to potentially, yeah, I'm excited to see what it brings, like that cross sort of companion, and it feeds into RavenQuest and sort of builds out the larger ecosystem. It's, yeah, pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's very bullish. It's very bullish for sure. Again, like I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did. I'm actually playing with Kiaj right now. He's standing next to me farming some Culling eyes over here, and I was talking to him when he was playing the playtest, and he was telling me that it really scratched his RavenQuest itch without needing to put in all the time, and I just didn't.
Right,
I
right.
had such a hard time believing it, but oh, it's awesome to hear that your brother's coming in, and yeah, it's all very positive, and I can't wait for them to get it back up and running soon. MrsFAM, over on your end at Fam Guild, did you guys have like an all-out attempt at RavenIdle? Was everyone on board, and did you guys strategize to get the referral system going? Like,
So yeah, we
how did things
started
go?
doing all of it, and I started playing it as well. And just like you previously said, or whoever it was, that they liked it and they were able to get their itch satisfied without putting so much time. Honestly, I was looking forward to it as well because of the same reason. I got to play it, I think, the initial 24 hours that was available. And I was looking forward to this one, but we've been so busy that I haven't had any time to play any video games or anything like that because we've been setting it up.
I see.
But yeah, the whole guild has tried it out. They love it. They were anticipating for it as well. We're just basically waiting for it at this point.
That's awesome.
But it's something unique, and I think it's beneficial for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's cool. That's cool to hear.
Yeah.
When you say you're setting it up, I'm assuming you're talking about the physical space.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So you're like getting
Yes.
like streaming setups and like just building out. Is it still under construction, or what's the?
No, so we've been setting it up for about a month, and recently we just have been finishing like all the streams, like the actual setups for people to stream if they wanted to, and we have a few PCs that are set up already. We have the PlayStation 5s and the Xboxes. Everything's basically ready to go, and yeah, we're basically open. We opened July 1st, so. It's been great. There's a lot of people coming into the store. There's a lot of hype. People walk in here and they're like, "Oh my God, we've been here about Fam HQ and all the buzz and all of this."
Oh,
So
that's
it's been
awesome.
super awesome to get all that feedback from people on here. And a lot of the girls, to be honest, they're into it, especially when you tell them that it's a live stream. We've had one of our interns do 2 streams already. And people, when they walk in here, we tell them like, "Hey, you're welcome to go say hi to the live stream," and they absolutely love it. So I think that's one of the unique features that people are really into that we've seen so far from the people walking in. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Today, I'm actually going to be live streaming from here. So if you guys want to check it out, see what it looks like, you guys are more than welcome to. And if you
Definitely,
guys
yeah.
are ever in the area, we would love to have you, and you guys are welcome to stop by.
Yeah, so for those of you guys who don't know what we're talking about here, Fam Guild has built a physical headquarters in, where is it located? Like what?
So it's in Connecticut.
Okay.
It's there's a giant casino here. It's called Foxwoods Casino, but they have an outlet, a Tanger outlet, small, and yeah, that's where we're located.
That is awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's actually one of the things I was always kind of dreaming about, like when I first started out in the space, is to build like some form of a streamer house. I think that's like a lot of people's dream is to build out a space where you and your friends can all play together and stream and build community around it. That sounds super cool though. You have people coming in like that can walk in physically and like stand behind the person streaming and wave hello to the stream.
Yes,
That is
yes.
so cool.
And
I love that.
that is people love that. They're like, "Wait, what? You have a whole bunch of people on the other side of the screen, and they're real, and you can talk to," and they absolutely love that.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations again. Yeah. You guys.
Thank you so much. I
dropped
appreciate it.
She dropped a link in the chat. What time are you going to be streaming tonight?
So we're gonna start at 6 p.m., which is in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then we'll go till midnight Eastern time.
Very cool. Okay.
But yeah, I just want to say, like, you guys are more than welcome. Since we just got started, but we're looking forward to do like events and that kind of stuff. Nike is actually one of the stores here, and they walked in yesterday or the day before, I don't remember exactly, and they basically want us to host an event for them. So it's kind of like, you know, like it'll grow the community, get the you know, the outreach that we want for the games as well, and just build a bigger community IRL as well.
If you had one message for the community about like kind of, you know, I'm assuming it's been a long journey that you've gone in the past few
Definitely.
years from like point A to point B. If you had like one
Yeah.
piece of advice or one lesson that you could share that you've learned along the way to get to that point, you know, what would it be?
I think it has to be determination, commitment, and perseverance. Like you need to be able to be focused on what you want to achieve. Make sure that everyone that you are building with is also on the same page and you guys are striving to do the same thing. And I think that's probably the easiest way and the fastest way to build is when you have other people who are on board with you and they're willing to put in the same amount of time that you're putting in so that you guys can get the results that you want.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah.
Perseverance is something that I resonate with like a lot. I think it's something that I deal with even internally with our team at RavenQuest.tools. Like it's consistency and perseverance through times that are tough, like whatever it is that you're dealing with, whether it's on a personal level or with your team. I mean, this is even with the guild too, like people that you are maybe, you know, struggling to connect with in your guild or play with. I think that, you know, as long as you have a positive mindset and you focus on the fact that like consistency, it's not doing 100% every day, you know, of the week. Like you come in, you're always 100% on point, 100% effective. I think even being, you know, 10% effective one day and then 50% another day, and just the most important thing is that you're trying to do, you know, something a little bit better every day, you know, 1% better every day, staying positive and just keep pushing. Like that's what it's all about in my mind. So
Exactly. And I think, like you said, like the commitment, I think it has to be, like you said, as long as there's so much to juggle, like you said, whether it be personal, the guild, people in general, or like what people need or what you can give, I think all of that is going to be a factor always, especially if you have a job or like kids or wife or partner, whatever it is. All of those things may play a factor, but I think as long as the team that you're working with on a daily basis, you guys are on the same page and know that that's something that you need to dedicate time to, I think that'll be where you guys can make a difference for whatever you guys are trying to do.
of that. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, diving back into RavenQuest, I'm
Thank
gonna
you so much, by
totally,
the way, Jyrmz.
yeah, of course, my pleasure. Thank you for being here. It's awesome.
Thank you
know,
also.
that's what it's all about.
Thank you.
I'm gonna jump ship, haha, pun intended, for WT to give us his weekly rant about the ocean. WT, did you get a chance to listen to the last roundtable, which started a little bit secretly with Niter and the ocean alpha that's incoming? And yeah.
Yeah, I
we
did.
just asked that.
No ranting. Lots of good positive vibes off of what he said.
Awesome.
I'm very interested in this fourth ship type that's coming out allegedly. I don't understand the pump buff to a 33% buff to it basically.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard enough time catching people without that thing, let alone the people with it. And it's really just another that's probably the biggest issue that I see with what the changes made, but what's coming, it's very, very lucrative. I think it's going to definitely get people back on the sea. I immediately shifted to upgrading my boat as soon as possible, and I think a few other people are starting to do that just to get ahead of the game. And RA and Kat are out in the sea. We actually have somebody to fight recently. It's been nice.
Nice.
We do want our
What I like to
royalties
hear.
because they are stealing our tactics, but in general, I think there's some good stuff coming to the sea, and I can't wait.
That is awesome to hear, man. Yeah, there's a couple things you said there that I want to touch on. Number one, the pumps. It's rough. I think, you know, Niter, he addressed it in the Forge. You know, he said he's going to take a look at it with the team. You know, I think a lot of us are kind of confused as to why that change was made, but I put pumps on my boat now, even for PvP. it's just so powerful. Like I think it's just now meta for the ocean. Like you have to have pumps on, even just to be like an offensive player in the ocean.
I understand, you know, the Empire's disdain for the Rebels and their use of hyperdrive now. That's how Han Solo got away all the time.
That's right. Yeah, that's what it feels like pretty much. You hear the pew pew, and then they're just gone, man. They're just gone. It's also a change for trade packers. Like the amount of time that it takes now to go from one end of the map to the other has reduced significantly. So we don't even talk about the implications of that. Let alone PvP. There's also that issue as well.
I have tons of people in the guild now that are even saying like, oh yeah, I'm just casually running to Orca Bay with trade packs. They never would have done that before.
Yeah, it's like before it was a risk, you were scared, and yeah, now no problem. Got the royal pumps, easy, Yeah, so hopefully, that change is at least looked at, maybe rolled back a little bit. We all, I think, would hope, or who knows, maybe the implication of this new boat, which you touched on, would be a game changer. Who knows? Maybe it has some built-in slows or like canceling of these, like, removing a positive effect from the enemy ship, sort of like how we see in some abilities in PvP on land. Yeah, we're ranting over here. We're ranting. That is from, I can't see, the names are truncated. Dang it.
Solemnly swear.
Solemnly. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Yeah, I was gonna touch on something else. We were talking. Oh, right. Okay, let me do this before we move forward with this conversation. I'm gonna just share with everyone what it was that Niter said on the last roundtable, kind of in secret because he wasn't able to come for the normal time. So I spoke to him, at 1 hour before the roundtable was supposed to start, and he shared some alpha on the ocean, which was, as you guys now heard, a new boat incoming. Potentially, we don't know when, but possibly like a pirate boat. He was saying that the galleon is something he wants to keep as more of like a PvE boat, and they don't want to transition into like a PvP boat, but they will be creating a more of like a pirate ship type of boat that's going to be geared more towards PvP. So that's super cool. But then the primary change that's incoming is these rough water pools, as he would describe them, that are going to pop up like dynamic events in the ocean. So you will see them pop up like a global event, essentially, like the same pop-up that you get when somebody pulls a mythic or a legendary card. You'll see like, Rough Waters event is begun, and it's going to be one fishing node on every server at the same time, but different locations in the ocean. And this one fishing node is going to have 2 times the amount of fish as normal, as well as 1 in 3 fish caught on that fishing node are going to be legendary. I like that you said it's going to change, like the revenue generation of fishing, because I don't think like even I can fathom how profitable it would be if you were able to secure that node and completely fish it out, and you have like 50, 100 legendary fish. I mean, I don't know how many fish are in a node right now. Maybe it's not that much, but like, okay, maybe still 20 legendary fish. If they're each like 100K worth, man, I don't know. It's $1 million, 2 million silver for one fishing run. That's pretty insane. So yeah, that is what we're talking about here. Kiszer, I know obviously you're in with WT. What do you guys think of the ocean change? I know GXE, you guys are big on the ocean, and yeah, obviously WT shared a little bit about it. But yeah,
I think it's just something that a lot of us are looking forward to. I have had an uptick in boat orders, which is also nice for pushing carpentry because it's gotten a little rough to push lately.
Yep.
But mostly it sucks too, because I know a lot of our members will be like, oh, we'll be in plunder, or we'll be casual. So after the fishing changes happened, we became a little more spread out than we normally are, as opposed to being in like a bunch of small groups. Now a lot of people are kind of off solo, or maybe just in groups of 2 doing stuff. So every time something's kind of happened or anything, it's been harder to get the crew together and everything. So I'm really just excited, honestly, for that, mostly so we can kind of a little easier be on the same page again. It's been nice. I will say the one silver lining to the boat changes for us, though, is it has forced a lot of our players to get more on land, to get more of their quests done. We've got multiple people like actually. I'm finally being able to be. People are like, "Oh, help me with the blotch quest." I'm like, "Yes, let's go." You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and so it's super nice, at least the silver lining there. But I'm just super excited that we can all kind of more easily be on the same page again. Hopefully here moving forward.
That's very
I'm
exciting.
super pumped. I'm super pumped about the fishing holes that you said, that it's definitely gonna bring out some big players, and I'm interested to see how that dynamic works, where if a guild has a large majority of ships ready to go, if they can dominate and hold off people from hitting their members, and are you going to come in with maybe 2 really good fishing boats and then everybody else be armed to the teeth ready to defend those fishing boats, and see how that plays out. And then, you know, do other guilds have to team up because, all right, we can't take on, you know, this guild because they're just too strong, so we have to team up and try not to hit each other as we're fighting against them. It's just, it opens up a whole bunch of questions of how it's going to look.
Oh man, yeah, it's I'm imagining the chaos in my mind already that's going to ensue. Yeah, you know what I'm excited for is when that announcement pops, and you somehow get into the one server that nobody else is in, and you just get to sit there and freely fish, which is never gonna happen, but a man can dream, right? Hopefully they integrate an ally system before that day, because yeah, man, I totally forgot about how like you have to avoid hitting each other in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, yeah, that's gonna suck if there's no
Beautiful
ally
chaos.
system.
Beautiful chaos.
yeah. You just whole break through like 5 of your friends. That's not gonna be the best.
I've always said I'd love to see like this. I mean, I don't think this would ever work, but I'd love to see like collision damage in the water. I think that would
like
be a
running
very
into people and your ship breaks a little bit. Oh, that'd be
yes.
fun.
Just
Ramming speed, baby.
It would be.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like
yeah.
on that note, I don't know if anybody's ever played Sea of Thieves. It's a Web 2 game, just purely ocean pirate combat. I'm imagining, I'm thinking about how in Sea of Thieves your ship would take damage. You'd get holes in your boat, and then you'd take water into your boat. You'd have to scoop it out. I wonder if you could like, you have a mechanic where as you get more water into your boat starts to slow down or something. And then you gotta like do a special type of repair. I don't know. It's I feel like the point there is that there's probably a lot of like really niche things they could do to enhance the
Sure.
naval combat, and the collision damage made me think of that. But anyways, there's no shortage of ideas. You know, we could sit here all day and share ideas. But yeah, Schawkey, if I know you're probably grinding out somewhere. I'm tapping you in here. I'm curious if your guild has people who used to fish, or like a lot of guild members who built large galleons and like they're waiting for something to happen on the ocean. Did you guys even know about this ocean change that was incoming?
We didn't know about an ocean change, but we do have a lot of teams, so they probably know I'm more into mining. So maybe on that note, maybe there could be a dynamic for mining.
Oh, well, yeah.
But yeah, I kind of love that change because right now, I mean, I was fishing myself in the beginning, but after they made a change with the nodes, having like, I don't know, 40 fish, something like that, and then you have to move all the way around. I like the passive of fishing, like just passively fishing and not moving around too much. That's what I liked. But now that I'm mining, maybe we can have some big nodes appearing.
Well, I think Niter talked about this actually in, I don't know, I think there was the Forge before this one that just came out. They're going to add culling. This is actually, this is what we were talking about on the last roundtable, is they're going to add culling eyes spawns for resources. And I'm assuming that's going to include mining. So you should definitely check out the Niter's Forge before this one. If you're into mining, I mean, I think he even put out like a community question, which was, what are some additional like buffs you'd like to see come to conflict zones? I was actually really excited to talk to him about that today, but I'll have to save that for another time. But yeah, culling eyes for resource nodes. What do you think of that, Schawkey? I mean, that's like exactly what you're talking about, kind of, right? some sort of event surrounded by them?
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting. I just wonder what resource it would be. Would it be like anything random?
Yeah,
or
we
is
were
it...
talking about this last week. One of the best ideas I think we had around that would be if you got like a special material for the repairing mechanic that's incoming. So those two things could go hand in hand, where maybe like you do the culling eyes for for a resource node, and you get this special material that you use when you're repairing someone's gear, and the gear gets like, you know, either like extra durability or like the repair just costs, you know, 5 times less. You obviously couldn't like block the entire repair and like need this material, because then I think it would create, you know, too much of a bottleneck for the repair system. But that was one idea we had about like, you know, special material that you could get from this culling spawn, or maybe it just has like really high chance to drop gems, or like for wood, it would be, you know, very high chance to drop the dense logs. What do you think of that?
I think that would be interesting. I think that was the metaphor that I did watch. So he mentioned having the areas that would have like specific materials being like multiplied by a percentage. That would be interesting. And I would like to see that, like, I mean, of course, 1.14 than that 100%. But I would love to see that.
Yeah, I think it's going to
because
be really cool. I'm excited to see everything. Yeah, go ahead.
One thing that I would really like to see is like addition to XP buffs. So let's say mining, fishing, you can modify the XP a little bit with passives. There is nothing that you can really like buy or grab that we can add XP to it.
Yeah.
So let's say if somebody joins mining now, they will need months to catch up to 50. So maybe like small crafting buffs, maybe potions for mining, fishing, and even, I mean, maybe not woodcutting because he already has unmanned. But that would be an interesting idea.
Yeah, I like this idea actually, because it's pretty brutal, the progression system of mining and fishing, the amount of XP you need, and how just the sheer amount of time you have to spend doing those things. Like you get, you know, 300 XP per node that you hit. It's pretty rough. So it'd be cool to see that. Oh, hold on. Okay. I do, before we continue, we are now at the hour. I know that MrsFAM, you probably have to run because I think you're going to start your stream now, right? And then I also just want to like touch on a couple of announcements before like maybe we can either continue this conversation if you guys still want to talk shop, or we can close things out. So MrsFAM, I'm assuming you're gonna run, right?
Yes, I'm still here, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can say our goodbyes. I'll say.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. Have a beautiful stream. Okay, definitely go check her out, guys, on Twitch. It's Mrs369FAM TV. Is that
correct? Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Go
Thank
check
you
her
so
out,
much,
guys.
everyone. Appreciate you, and Jyrmz, thank you as well.
My pleasure.
Have a good one, guys. Bye bye.
Kiaj, if you're listening, run back. I'm gonna cancel my thing. There you go. Yeah, so we also have Bunny in here, who I believe is going to be streaming after this one. Bunny, do you want to tell us a little bit about that so we don't miss out on anything exciting?
Oh gosh.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, yeah, so I do stream Saturday nights. I don't really have any games planned. You obviously were here, so you probably didn't see my message asking if you guys, I invited you guys to join me, but I know you said you were not feeling well, so I'm not sure. Maybe we'll come up with some games, or I'll come up with some games if it's just me, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you were planning on streaming, I thought, I apologize. Maybe I misunderstood. I thought that was part of the plan. So, yeah, I'm totally down to hop in. I think Kiaj and I were excited to like run maybe a duel tournament, or
yes, okay,
yeah, we can set up any game.
Yeah, because we kind of talked about it like right before this went live, and I was like, wait, did we confirm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought it was all
anything.
confirmed.
Okay.
Don't
Yes,
come
yes,
to
we're
our
gonna do
stream,
that.
guys. It's gonna be a mess. No, there's no coordination. Everything's all over the
No,
place.
it's. I mean, even yeah, it is a hot mess, but it's fun.
There you go. It'll be the chaos, just like the ocean when those changes
Yes.
come out.
But you know, anytime we do stuff like that, obviously there are prizes. We'll see what we have and what we can give to people.
Yeah, I'll be putting up some silver for sure. So definitely come on by as well if you guys want to jump around between MrsFAM or Bunny and whoever, or maybe you just need to go grind out your adventure board. That's also cool. We'll be trying to host some fun games with Bunny in there after this as well. So yeah, all right. I think that pretty much covers like any announcements I wanted to make outside of this. We've shared this a couple times, but over here on RavenQuest.tools, we're still working on the build planner. It's coming along. It's a lot of work, as you guys maybe can imagine, with just the amount of like skills and data, like in-game data that we have to make sure is very accurate. Especially without like a finalized API from the RavenQuest team. It takes some time to put everything together. So, but we are very excited. It's going to have a lot of cool features. Like it's going to have your combos, your notepad where you can like write anything you want about the build. You can link a YouTube video. It will track all of the skills that you put in real time. So like if you get the bull rush first and then you get the crippling dagger second, that way it can kind of help like beginner level players who are leveling up and building your build understand like which skills they should be getting first. That's all going to be automatically tracked as you create your build. And then you can share the build publicly, you can upvote them and filter by PvP, PvE, Rift, whatever. So we're really excited to bring that to the community. I think it's going to help out a lot of people who want to help newer players who don't know necessarily what to play. So yeah, just keep your eyes peeled. We'll be doing that. Oh, we also have like 3 competitions going on right now. We have a Ravens Quill challenge where you can write a blog, a story, anything you want to write about or are passionate about the game, a tip, anything. You can submit your blog, and that is for us. That is something that RavenQuest.tools is hosting, and has some prizes sponsored by RavenQuest game as well. So if you weren't familiar with that and that's going on and it sounds interesting to you, check it out in our RavenQuest.tools server. Kiaj, I don't know if you can actually help me out here and link the announcement posts to the chat here. If not, I can actually take care of it after we kill this spider. So yeah, we have that one challenge is happening. We also have a challenge for creators or just anyone in the community. It's a video challenge. You can create marketing material. You can create a funny clip, funny moment, epic moment, any sort of content, short form, no longer than 90 seconds. You can share it in our, or it's actually a channel now in the RavenQuest Discord. So that competition is going on for another 10 days. And yeah, you can just post any piece of content that you have up there, and we will be choosing 3 winners. First place is getting $150 in NFT Raven packs. Second place gets $100, and third place gets $50. And then we're also going to be running challenges the whole month. So that's just challenge 1 out of 3 creative challenges that we're going to be hosting on behalf of RavenQuest, sponsored by RavenQuest. So yeah, definitely don't sleep on that. It's easy money, I want to say. So definitely check those out. I think Kiaj is linking some of the challenges. Everything is in an announcement on our Discord. So if you're not in our Discord, make sure you join. Hit me up with a DM, and I can shoot you an invite code. Or yeah, a Bunny also has it there. Perfect. Actually, I think that's it, because the third challenge I'm thinking of, I believe, has already ended. So apologies for the long-winded breakdown there. But yeah, 2 creative challenges going on. 1 for blog writing, 1 for videos. So definitely don't sleep on those. It's free money. We'd love to see your entries. And yeah, that is everything I had to say on the announcement side of things. Does anyone else have to run? Eliph, Schawkey, Oracle, do you guys want to hang out for a few more minutes and kind of talk on maybe one more point?
Yeah, about
Sure.
this,
Yeah, sure,
about this, by the way, what you just said, we
Yeah.
also have a campaign right now. Like Lizard Labs is out for like 3 years, with like a gaming DAO or meme coin or trading or whatever. Like we do everything, and we have a platform. I don't want to like go into details, but we have a campaign right now. The tasks last around, I don't know, 10 minutes to finish everything or 15 minutes. And in the end, 4 winners are gonna get like $100. But
Awesome.
because we are playing a lot of RavenQuest, we decided if one of the winners is a RavenQuest player who is like level 40 plus right now, we're gonna get him a small land if the land is more than $100.
Oh,
Doesn't
wow.
matter if it's like 140 at the time of the when it's over, like in 2 weeks, or 150 or 130. If he prefers the land, we're gonna give the land
That's
instead of
awesome.
the
So say that again. That's
$100.
like something that we can find in your Discord. Basically, it's a campaign you're running through there. You can
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
free to drop the link.
We,
Like we'd love to
I
check
dropped
it out.
the link on the Discord. People can enter there. We're running often campaigns. Most of the times, our campaigns are only for Lizard Labs holders, but now like people are not as active as they used to be. You know, like we have like NFT holders around 1,600, and in our giveaways, like 40 people enter. Like people are super down now in Web3 gaming. That's why we opened this to like everyone for some of those,
Yeah, it's
including
been a tough time for the space, I think, as a whole. But it's awesome. I love to hear that you guys are hosting something. Keep the spirits up, and you know, share some wealth with the community. That I love that. Yeah, definitely I'll check it out, and we can maybe even collab a little bit, and I can post it up on our RavenQuest.tools Twitter or Discord, and get some traction for you guys, maybe some more eyes on it. So thank you for sharing.
Thanks, yeah. No problem. Like people can ask in the Discord what to do. I'll just link them there and they can go do the tasks, and they just enter their wallet and their Discord name, and we're gonna have a thingy, a raffle for the 4 winners.
Awesome. Yeah, that guys, definitely check it out. And then I think Kiszer, you also had something going on for GXE.
Yeah, next week, and I'll post more kind of details and stuff in our Discord as well, and I'll try to get it out anywhere, so if anyone's interested, you can just reach out. But we're actually having a pretty big dueling tournament next week. We're going to include even some like 2v2s, 3v3s. We're going to have brackets set up based on like levels and effective level and stuff like that, so it'll be more balanced and fair. We have things like crafting gear up for grabs, some T6 up for grabs, silver, infusions, there's various stuff like that. So if anyone got any hardcore duelists, we'd love to see you there.
Sweet. I wonder if maybe the RavenQuest team can post up like a little mini announcement for that as well. I'd love to to see some traction around that. I think a lot of people would love to be there. Yeah. I was gonna say something and my brain totally blanked out. But oh yeah. Weren't we going to do an ocean tournament at some point? I feel like maybe that it like slipped through the cracks for some reason. Or maybe that was with a different guild. Was it you guys, or was it Laughing Coffin? Maybe we were planning on it.
It was Fowlin. Yeah, it was Fowlin with GXE and also some TN guys. To be honest with you, then I know like TN kind of went through some restructuring, so that I'm not sure if that fell through the cracks or if that even happened. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't know where that ended up. I don't know WT.
Yeah, well, I know it didn't happen. Like it was supposed to happen because I actually think we were gonna host it in the, I don't know, something was supposed to happen, but it never did. But I wonder if maybe we can collaborate and set something up with you guys. And
Something came up and Fallon said we had to hold it off.
Yeah.
I think he was talking with some people on the RavenQuest side, and they came up with the hold it off for now for some reason, and then some life things got in the way, and TN. I haven't seen TN in forever. I don't even know if they're still around or what.
Well, I think they rebranded, right? It's like a DEN.
Yeah, I think some of them also. Yeah, and then some of them also. I'm not I think like 30, 40 of them left off, and some went to like GG, and some went to some other bigger guilds. from my understanding. So I think they had some pretty big restructuring stuff going on.
That's interesting. I was curious because I love watching Yagod. If anybody knows him, he's just an absolute maniac. I love his energy, but he's just such a funny guy. But yeah, I saw like one day that he wasn't TN, but he was like DEN or something. I don't know. It was interesting. Anyways, yeah. Hopefully, I mean, with the oh, Kiaj is saying 8TN? Yeah, 8TN. There you go. Yeah, I actually think we were fighting them on the ocean today in Plunder. So, you know, they're still around, but just not like they
You
used
should
to
have
be
called
on the
us. We
ocean.
would have been there.
Oh yeah.
Bring back the old days.
That's right. Sorry, yeah, we could have called you guys in. We'll definitely do that next time. But yeah, I mean, with you know, with the excitement around the ocean that we were talking about today, you know, maybe it'd be like a good time to kind of start that back up again. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely take that one back and see, and I'll reach out to Fallon. And he actually, funny enough, literally called me like 2 minutes ago. Obviously, I didn't answer, but so I'll give him a call back and I'll see where he's at with that and see if we can kind of get that going. Maybe we can use that as like a right before the ocean changes coming as a kind of like a prelude to it, so to speak.
Awesome. I have one more question I'm gonna pose to you guys from me, and then I'll sort of like open this up to like open forum, see if anybody has anything you want to discuss specifically, and then we can talk about like our final point of the day. But something that I was brought to my attention, and it's not the first time, is a post that someone made in the like feedback channel here in the RavenQuest Discord, and it talks about how there's a lot of little problems in the game, and like you know, whether you're being glitched out of your land when you're farming, or you know, the map doesn't work 100% of the time, like your friends don't show up in the right position in the ocean or even on land, and you know, there's like a lot of little things, the guild bank disappearing and stuff getting stuck. I even ran into a new bug that I discovered the other day with like the bags, and I lost like 500,000 silver just trying to get new bag space. But yeah, okay, the post was saying that basically they're worried that maybe the team is too focused on adding endgame content, when, you know, at some point, you know, the people who made this post were saying that they would love to see like the team kind of put like endgame content to the side and just power through, or like allocate some resources to just powering through all of these little bugs. And I'm actually going to throw this over to, I mean, it's really for everyone, but I'm curious, Eliph, maybe with your guild, which is like a little bit smaller, and maybe Oracle in your position, did you ever have people like dropping off, people leaving the game, you know, just kind of disappointed with the like performance aspects? Because I think that a lot of the hardcore players, like even myself, right? I'm dedicated to this game. I'm heavily invested, and so no matter what like tiny little bug I run into, it's never going to be enough to like make me, you know, want to leave the game and like give up. But you know, maybe for someone who doesn't have a big investment in the game or doesn't have as much time to play, these minor inconveniences turn into like a much bigger deal for them, because their time is like more valuable, or whatever it is. So what do you think about that, like about these smaller changes, and yeah, have you ever like had people leave or get like extra frustrated about these minor inconveniences?
It's super funny you bring that up, because actually if you're talking about the post I think you're talking about, you're talking about a post that was written by someone who used to be in our guild and used to be in your guild and now is in GG. So it's kind of
shoelaces,
a fun
right?
post
Tyrone.
that we've all
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so we were talking the same post.
Yes. I mean, regardless of the guy's morals, like the post
he's
has
a fun
some
guy and a great kid. It's just exactly. And I think I'm gonna be honest. That my point and the reason saying that, I actually think in the fact that he's been in a handful of guilds lately, he's actually kind of helped the post, because I know for a fact he asked all of us to kind of like get some traction on it when he started it. I know he's asked some like GG guys too, because I think it's a phenomenal post. I think like it's one of the biggest issues that we honestly have it just when playing the game. Like the biggest one still, we've talked about the map one for months at this point. Hell, when we had Niter and Matt Welsh and stuff like on the Ranting Ravens and stuff, you know, that was literally like the biggest thing we'd said is like, please just fix the map, please. because it's even happened in Guild War today, for example, and we were
Oh,
like I said
yeah,
earlier,
this
we were
is-
in 10v5
Yeah.
and we were trying to get
Yeah, it's good.
we were just trying to find where the fights were and stuff, and so one of our strongest fighters would be like, hey, I found them, and I'd see them on the map, and so I'd start heading that way, and they're not there, they're not anywhere over there, they're on the complete other side of the map, and I'm like, oh, okay, my bad. And obviously stuff like that today didn't cause any issues because we had a man advantage, but had that been a 10v10 fight against someone, like that could have literally just cost us the entire war right there from a bug. And now obviously that affects everyone, and it's just like, so now we just need to make sure we communicate better for it, but it's so hard, especially when you've got like 10-20 people out on the ocean or something, and you're trying to gather people up, and all these little ones, they just cause more frustrations, at least from talking to people, than the big ones do. Like, oh, I need more content, obviously is an issue, and me as like a healer, for example, there's not really that much I can do. I'm begging people, like, please guys, please do some hard scrolls, please. I need some content.
Hey,
But
if you're looking
so
for someone to
I-
play hard scrolls with, we need an extra
Yeah.
healer over here in XP, so come on down anytime. Continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
We'll pay you
interrupt.
after. No, I'll pay. We'll
Yeah.
we'll definitely talk later.
Yeah.
It's just those. I know those are like obviously the big things on top of people's minds, saying like, oh, I want more stuff. But it's, if you really sit back and think about it, what are the things that are causing frustrations in your day-to-day playing? It's all the little things. All these little things that happened to me earlier. I got kicked out when I was doing some farming earlier. I had that bug happen, and then I got stuck in my plants somehow.
Oh,
So I
God.
had to log out. I literally didn't even log back in for like 30 minutes to pick up so I had half a large land, just half crops planted, ready to be picked up, the other half not doing anything at all, just because I was just frustrated. I was just like, I'm gonna step away for a few minutes. And obviously that's really, I shouldn't do that. I know I shouldn't do that, but it was literally, I was just at the point where like mentally I was like, I'm going to be upset if something else happens. So I'm just gonna go get some food and stuff. And those are the only things that have ever, from talking to people, where people have been like, man, screw this. I'm done for the day. I've seen that happen a lot. So I think those are something that, even if it's just a separate dedicated team, or they allocate just a couple engineers to it every week or something, even like that small patch that we saw, what was it, a week and 2 days ago, I want to say, where they fixed just like the bug where they're like, for example, the crippling dagger now works in duels, and all these small things. Like I can't tell you how many times I heard from Shade Strikers like, my crippling dagger is not working in this duel, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
Which is valid, but so like I want to see more of these patches. I want to see more of these small things, and I think every single time I see one, it just makes me happy. Like, genuinely, it just makes me happy inside, because it's just like, oh, that's one less thing I need to worry about or have to deal with, or have to hear someone else deal with, because obviously I don't want anyone else to deal with like any of these issues. So it's just like, it's just nice. I think they should focus a little bit more on it historically, and I'm hoping that last patch was kind of more of a indication of what's to come. For the rant there.
That is yeah. I mean, I think you summed everything up pretty clearly there. For me, it's I think that probably, if I had to guess, the team is already so deep into the integration of 1.1.0 that like probably it would be tricky time right now, especially also with RavenIdle.
You're absolutely right, but that's the concern, right? Is like, if we keep adding more stuff and more stuff and more stuff without going back and fixing the other stuff, like, then you just amount such a big tech debt it's like,
what I was gonna say is like, I would hope that like this is something we as a community can push the team to focus on once 1.1.0 is integrated, especially also because what you were just saying, like, yeah, you keep adding more stuff, and now you have more to manage. Like, let's try to manage the things that we have already first, and then and then move into the next step. But yeah, I mean, I'm still excited for 1.1.0, and
because I think like one thing we also as a community need to do is give a little grace to like the team when it comes to changes. I'll say, like, for example, the RavenIdle snafu that happened yesterday. If anyone wants, I know a lot of people are upset and saying like, how could this happen? And there probably needs to be discussions on how they're testing things. But for reference, I've pushed a very similar thing to a $500 billion company before in production. Very similar issue. A couple years ago, and obviously it was one of those things that, like, that's a very big deal. We're talking we're talking billions of dollars are going to be affected in that case, right? And it's something that, like, if it can happen to a $500 billion company, and that's something that I was directly involved in, like, it can happen anywhere.
You
it's
know,
just one of those things that like they need to use it as an example and that kind of like better practices so these things don't continue to happen. That's the big thing.
there's an interesting thing that I've thought about, like, as I've been involved in the Web3 space for so long, and like it has to do with like giving the team grace. There's two things I want to say. One is that, like, I've spoken to Niter about this actually, and like one thing that he shared with me is that, like, sometimes people don't realize like how complicated or challenging a quote unquote little change can be to integrate and to fix. Like, it's sometimes things that seem simple on the surface are so ingrained in like the foundation of the, I guess the code, that it's like it takes a long time to fix. So I think like there can be some consideration for that. Then also, like, it's interesting because I think that people in general have like a higher level of stress and like a lower level of tolerance when dealing with Web3 games because of the implication of money being involved. Because there's money on the line, whether it's money you've invested or money you're attempting to obtain, we tend to have like a much shorter fuse, whereas like I think about Apex Legends, if anybody's familiar. There's like massive AAA FPS game, Battle Royale, that I used to play, and we would have ranked matches where the entire server would crash and like you would just get completely kicked out of the game or your character would freeze. And it happened for like 5 years. Like I played the game for so long, and there was not a single season where there was not a major, massively game-breaking bug that like you could either abuse and do some weird, crazy shit, or just like the servers were just fucked, and it's just something you kind of have to deal with. Like, I don't think a game is ever going to be perfect, and maybe it's just like, yes, we definitely need to remind the team to like fix these little things, and that all still stands. And at the same time, like, have some grace, have some patience, because I think that sometimes we forget that like it's a game, and
they're a small studio.
And they're a small studio. Yeah, it's a great point.
I think everyone forgets that. To a point.
Rice said, Jyrmz, you play the same games I play. Apex, Sea of Thieves. Don't tell me you play Pal World. No, I never played Pal World, Rice. I'm sorry to let you down. I know I was itching to. A lot of my friends did, but I don't know what it was. I kind of knew it was like a gimmicky game, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna touch this. Or at the time, I think I had already moved on to some other titles. But oh yeah.
I just want to throw out one thing real quick
about
what Kiszer said and some of the other people just said here. I hope they see this passing with the RavenIdle, which, I'm a big fan of RavenIdle, but like they've got all these other little problems, and then they're going and trying to start this, and now I'm assuming that they're going to have to focus all this manpower to get this fixed because it's kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now they're not focusing on the other things, and I hope going forward they try to keep a healthy balance in mind of trying to progress things to grow the ecosystem, but not overextend themselves. That's my main concern that I see with them now. Are they overextending themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing he said last week was that they actually had a totally different team on Idle because they didn't want it to take away from RavenQuest.
Yeah, from the start was my understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely something they're mindful of. It's a great point. It's a great point, WT. And I think it's a concern. I think that, all of us, at least on this roundtable, share, like it's the whole point of this conversation essentially that I brought up, right? Like, as a community, we want to see new things, new change, expansion of the ecosystem, and it's very exciting. And at the same time, like, I think it's a vision that Niter shares. I mean, he said this. I don't know if it was in the Forge but he said very clearly, like, they love to underpromise and overdeliver. And I think that was, of course, the expectations here. Like, I think RavenIdle is a lot of fun, and it definitely blew my expectations out of the water. Aside from this technical slip up. So, yeah, I do have faith in the team, at least on that end of things. But yeah, as a community, we should continue to push them to be mindful of these minor changes, and an emphasis that maybe there's a good portion of the community that would also like to see the minor changes and quality of life things addressed before the major expansions are pushed out. it's something I would have loved to discuss with Niter today, and unfortunately he's not here. So, you know, I don't want to speak
Yeah,
for
I was
him or,
I was excited
yeah.
too because I feel like that's I don't know how to say this without coming across maybe wrong, but
Sure.
I think that's one of the nice things that I enjoyed talking with them a lot is because I've worked in game dev before and I'm a software developer now, right? So I do understand a lot of the issues that they go through, and everything. And so I think it's kind of fun to talk shop when there is as bad as this is to say. Like I think it's kind of fun to talk shop when there is an issue. I think it can lead to also to a lot of just like positivity out of it. Because like I said, I've had this same issue before and stuff, and also I think it's a good opportunity to clear up some misconceptions. Because even now I'm hearing a lot of people say like, well, all these server issues and stuff, it's because it's like, well, RavenQuest and RavenIdle are like together, and it's like no, they're certainly using different servers to handle like the load on each and everything, right? And all this various stuff. So I think it's just like it's really nice opportunity to kind of clear up a lot of misconceptions that people have. Because like a lot of people said, and myself included, like it's okay to be critical and have criticisms, and more than okay. Obviously, they're warranted.
Yeah.
But it's not okay to just be like ignorant in said criticisms, if that makes sense what I'm trying to say. Like you need to, if you're going to like come at it with a criticism and with a solution, you do need to understand like the problem as well, right? You can't,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it's from a player's perspective, it's oftentimes hard to see like the actual problem because you just see the end result of the problem. So it's one of those things that like I think like the community as a whole, it's phenomenal that we have so much like constructive feedback and constructive criticism. And it's just the one thing, we just need to think about, like, for example, people say like a simple bug, like, oh, it's just a simple bug, why can't they fix it? Well, if they can't reproduce it or figure out why it's happening, well, how are they going to fix it, for example, right?
Yeah.
Things like
Good
that.
point.
So it's just like, I think it's just good to like be able to talk shop with like the team about that stuff, as well as kind of actually understand more of why things are happening as opposed to like what's happening.
The devs roundtable,
Yeah,
a talk only for software developers of the community and the RavenQuest team.
I do want to give them some props real quick.
Yeah.
We've had a long history of Web3 of like not even actually having a game.
Yeah,
And we
yeah,
have this
right.
massive game. They have a second game out that had some bugs,
Yeah.
but they're working on it. And now they're talking about a third game, and it's like, well, I'm just not used to this, and that's why my concern is like, oh my gosh, are we doing too much? I hate to even say that because we were in such a deficit for so long with these games. So hats off to them for trying and doing what they've accomplished so far. So I want to make sure we give them some praise for that.
Thank you, WT. Yeah, I love it. You know, I always say like RavenQuest in my mind, it's the best Web3 game I've ever played. So yeah, I mean, regardless of
Absolutely.
anything, it's just an incredible feat that they've brought to the Web3 community. So, Eliph, were you gonna, or maybe someone else is gonna jump in? We haven't heard your voices in a long time. Oh, man.
Yeah, I guess circling back to your other. Oh, yeah, Leaf. Yeah, you go, brother.
So about what you asked earlier about people leaving, it is a combination of things, I guess, and in general, everyone has talked about, oh, it's annoying that I lose so much gold or silver when I die, or the map, or new content, or newer people starting because they see us playing, but they're like, oh, I can't find anyone to do the shark with because people have already done it. And you can't easily find people to risk that at certain times, or it's hard to catch up. That's also a bit annoying, I guess. But that's a problem with MMOs. But I don't know. I think in the future, if they fix things, new player base can always come. Like now, people are leaving World of Warcraft, even long time World of Warcraft streamers, and they start playing the RuneScape Classic. Like RuneScape Classic is such an old game with worse graphics, but it started becoming the #1 MMO right now.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
I love that you brought that up because my cousin, he's like a big, I don't even know how to describe him. He collects like all kinds of games, but he's a big proponent of like classic games. Like he loves GameCube and N64 and Game Boy, and he just plays old games. And he's a young kid, like he's like 20 years old, and he loves to play these older games. And he we talk a lot whenever I hang out with him about, you know, the downfall of the gaming industry, because if you guys do some research, the gaming industry as a whole, like outside of Web3, is also taking a massive hit, and this is something that Niter has touched on as well. It's like a lot of studios are shutting down. Yeah, it's not just in the Web3 space, but you know, he loves to say, like, these gaming studios are biting off more than they can chew. They're focusing on insane graphics and crazy stuff and you know, $100 million budget. And it's the indie games that are coming out that have been the most fun. And, you know, they don't have to spend $10 million on graphics. And, yeah, I think it just kind of goes hand in hand with what you're saying about RuneScape, right? Like, people just want, like, a fun, you know, content-rich game. It doesn't have to be, you know, a crazy budget or whatever. I think you guys get the point, but for whatever reason, the gaming community, it's like tapped out on these new experiences, and I think it's kind of like Hollywood too. If like all the, I'm rambling. Somebody cut me off. Somebody jump in, please. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Schawkey or Oracle, I think you were gonna jump in with some thoughts about the smaller.
Yeah, Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, how do you keep everyone happy, right? Like, I remember, I think it was a month ago, you know, I think, you know, most of the mid to sort of top end grinders and players are screaming for the end game content, and then yeah, it's you know, I can imagine it's just a hard thing to cycle and balance with the community feedback, because then it's like breaking the community down, right? Like, some community are investors, some community are just hardcore gamers, you know, some community is kind of like a little blend of both. And, you know, so I can imagine it's hard to try and distinguish, you know, who to listen to, right? And then, you know, yeah, I can imagine it's quite overwhelming at the top end. So, yeah, I'm not too sure really. I mean, for myself personally, like most of the time, I'm in the Southeast Asian server. Just being here in Australia, it's just kind of where I get natively logged into, which is fine. And I mean, it runs smoothly for me. I mean, other than the obvious glitches that everyone's mentioned. I mean, I couldn't see anyone on the map today for Guild Wars, and yeah, all of the little bugs. Yeah, I think it really affected. Like, I haven't really noticed too much. I mean, there was that few weeks, I think, when they were getting attacked. You know, I think like the C servers were pretty much unplayable for like a week, to be fair. It was pretty rough. Yeah, I think it's slowly getting. It's been fantastic. And that's even like sort of playing in the North American server too. So yeah, I'm hopeful. I think with Treasures Below and 1.1.1, I think it's going to be, hopefully everything that everyone's kind of asking for. I mean, that's what Nida sort of hinted on the Forge, that it's a little bit of everything. So yeah, hopefully that scratches everyone's itch. And
absolutely, yeah. And again,
Yeah.
like if it doesn't, you know, if at least if there isn't like you know, some patches that come either along the way or like with it to sort of address some of these things that the community is a little bit concerned about, you know, hopefully that we can, as a community, kind of remind the team to focus on those things, that like it is needed, and that you know, we would really appreciate it. Like, I love what Kiszer said about how like some of his happiest moments are just these changes where it's just patch notes, you know, just little patch notes, and, you know, hey, crippling daggers fix, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I shared that in the guild and tagged everyone. I was like, finally, let's duel. Like, you know, I'm effective now. Right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was feeling the burn always as a Shade Striker player myself too. So, all right, guys. Well, I actually, you know, I was gonna bring up another question, but we are running pretty heavy overtime here. So, if anybody has anything else you'd like to bring to the table, now is the chance. Otherwise, we can call it a day. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So thank you guys. Does anybody
Maybe
have
a topic for you.
Yeah.
Maybe a topic for next week is he did mention something about a tournament mode coming, but you didn't want to let it out so other people don't steal it. I'm very curious about that.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's who knows what he's talking about there. That does sound pretty cool though. Anything else? Anybody have any other ideas? Oh wait,
I
Kigali
have
said something.
plenty
We
of
need
ideas.
Rift practice space. Actually, too many newbies getting cooked hard in the rifts. Kigali, man, love this idea. It's something we have been talking about like every week in the roundtable. It comes up either by myself or someone else. Man, I totally agree. It's actually something I brought up like even before the game even started. Like I was like, we need a training grounds, please. Whether it's a testing dummy where you can practice your
Yeah.
combos and see like how much DPS you're putting out comparatively to other cards and builds. Oh man, anything. Testing dummy, practice range,
Nice.
custom duels. We would love to see this. So I'm actually glad you brought it back up because I think it's something. I mean, at least for me personally, I would love to see implemented. So I'll keep screaming
Anything's
about
better than I can finally stop being a training dummy for people.
Don't forget to share the details for us to boost the event. Vivs, are you talking about the giveaways and stuff? Like all of the challenges? We can share some links.
GXC jewels.
Kaiser, you said you had a bunch of ideas. Do you want to just fire off with one of your top things, maybe like what you'd want to see in the game today? And then we can call it a day here.
Well, this is just something like I don't think this will ever actually happen. So I'll share something that I think is like probably too crazy to actually happen. But I would like to see some support for like add-ons / mods, kind of like World of Warcraft and most like MMOs tend to do. It's just simple things like even just being able to be like adding like a DPS meter for people, like just with like a mod, or being able to like make it so there's a notification on your screen, not a notification, like a pop-up on your screen when one of your things, let's say you have an ability that every 30% chance to give your Smiting Smash, right, has a chance to like increase your, or what is it? Your bash has a chance to reset the cooldown of your Smiting Smash or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
When that happens, to like in World of Warcraft, for example, there's through add-ons, most people that play hardcore would have, if that procced, most people would have it so it shows up on their, like in the middle of their screen, like through some kind of animation or a color or an effect or something, right? Things like that. I would just like a little more customization, honestly, and I think the easiest way is probably for players is through modding, but I don't expect that to ever necessarily happen. But that'd be my most number one thing I'd love to see. I used to theory craft and help make mods way back for WoW back. We're talking like Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King now, so like 17, 18 years ago when I was a kid.
Nice.
Right, I was literally like, if anyone was a warlock player in World of Warcraft back in the day, you probably, and were in any of the theory crafting or guides, you probably read stuff that I wrote, for example. And it's just like, I love all that stuff, and I wish we just had a little bit more like customization and everything, because I still see like so many people just kind of like struggling, and you'll see like so many people like their bars, like their health bar, they'll keep it at the top left, which is just absurd, because how you're supposed to see that in the heat of combat. You can move it obviously in the middle and stuff, but then now you're kind of blocking your screen and it gets a little clunky. So I would just like to see a lot more like customization options when it comes to that, and to make the game just a little more fluid playing. That's kind of my number one, I guess,
love that.
in some form or fashion.
It's actually, one of the things we talked about a little bit at RavenQuest.tools is like becoming an in-game companion as well. Something, an overlay you can add and customize as well. I think most games have it. That's a good idea. Yeah, it's something I haven't really thought about in a while. So, thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, hopefully.
Jeez. My number one thing would probably
go ahead.
Inventory items.
Say that again, Oracle.
Like lockable inventory items. Like, why can't I lock something in my inventory and then sort it and it doesn't move? Like, I would love to. I would love to see that.
Oh yeah.
On that note, give us a search bar for all of our inventories. Give me a search bar.
Please.
Let me search for. I know.
Yes.
I know I have acorns somewhere in here. What bag are
Yes.
they in? Just let me search for them.
I know Kiashu's. He's also probably like screaming, "Yes, please!" As you talk about that. Ay. Yeah, it's rough, man. That's a great one.
Hey, someone just messaged me, and it's real quick point. A shameless plug here. We'll be doing
Yeah.
Ranting Raven this coming Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I just got
Sweet.
a topic that we're going to talk about next week for sure. There's a lot amazing top tier players in this group here, and we might put out a forum or something for like lesser tier players. And I don't say that negatively, but like, what are their concerns versus some of our veteran concerns and in the game so far? That would be an interesting aspect. And we might have somebody that just started playing the game recently and is lesser levels. So tune into us next week if you have time.
Love that.
It's on
Love that.
X,
Definitely do
aka
that.
Twitter, at
I also really like the idea.
WT7791.
I just really like the idea. Definitely tune in to that, and we'll try to get some posts around when it comes out. But I definitely like the idea just of like, because I think that's one thing also, and I've tried to mention this in previous roundtables about like, we got to make sure we're not missing, like newer players who come in, or like for example, people talking about like wanting conflict zone changes. So I think it's really important that we actually do try to make sure we make more of a concentrated effort to reach out to said players and figure out what actually they need or what changes they have, right? Because we got to keep in mind that like the average player, what do we know what the average level is? It's probably like 50 or something right now. I imagine if you took like the average level of people who are actively playing, probably like 55 or something. I have no idea. I'm just guessing. So it's like, but their concerns obviously are going to be way different than the concerns of like Jyrmz, for example, who's strong as all hell, right? So it's
true,
just
yeah.
like one of those things. I think we do
I am
want
strong
to,
as
and
all hell.
so I really
Yeah,
like that
very
idea.
true.
So I do think we do want to try to like. I think it's a great idea to try to make more of a concentrated effort to get like the average player's perspective or the new player's perspective and stuff, because they're going to have completely different eyes and opinions and thoughts than someone like myself or you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely check it out, guys. Ranting Raven every Wednesday, 5 p.m. EST, right? Did I get that right?
Correct.
On
Yep.
X.
At WT7791 is where I host it. It's usually pinned at the top. Thanks.
Cheers. Yeah. All right, guys. It was incredible today. Thank you so much. I always love this conversation, and I really appreciate you guys being here, supporting us here at RavenQuest.tools, being a part of the conversation. Soul, huge shout out to you. Thank you so much, Soul. I gotta probably cut these to an hour. You're working overtime for us here. I appreciate you so much. That is the team member who's like moderating and making sure that we're not talking too much shit about the game over here at the round table. So, yeah, thank you as well to everybody who tuned in and was listening in. We will have a VOD up of the round table as soon as possible, I believe on the RavenQuest YouTube channel. So that's cool that we've got that going. And yeah, I also do a forum post every week of like the highlight ideas from the roundtable as well. So keep your eyes peeled, and if you do, like supporting these discussions, definitely go and upvote or downvote any ideas that you agree or disagree with. It's also just a great place to be, guys. If you like talking about the game, if you like giving feedback about the game, definitely create a post, especially now with Niter doing his Forge. It's a great way to get exposure to your ideas, as well as support things that you'd want to see make change in the game, because I think the community does matter. And if there's one thing I do also want to applaud Niter on, it's how often Niter listens to the community, hosts these polls. I think we saw one, yesterday with RavenIdle, or the day before yesterday with RavenIdle and the referral change. So anyways, I'm ranting now. You should put me on the Ranting Raven because I love to rant. And yeah, that's it. This is Round Table, episode 12. Signing off. I'm your host, Jyrmz. Love you guys. Hope you all have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Jyrmz. Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks for hosting. Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir. Take care, guys.